don't know me yet.
And yes, y'all, I would like to welcome you to the Elements Live show. And my name is DJ Rip.
And I'm Houston Alexander.
And the Elements Live show is where we have cool conversations every week with kings and queens of the hip hop culture, fashion, politics, entertainment, and sports. Every week we take an element and we talk about it. This is the Elements Live.
Now, last week we had my man Drew Dober from Omaha, Nebraska, MMA fighter currently in the UFC. And I watched this fight, man. Really tough fight with Islam. And to watch that fight, man, it was disappointing to me, not from his standpoint, but to know that, with the things that we talked about on the show about this guy being a grappler and him being a wrestler, and that's exactly what he did the whole entire fight, man. He took him down, he held him down, and that's what their camp in Russia does. They do that type of MMA. So it was a tough fight, but I'm sure Drew is going to be coming back and probably stronger than ever, learning from this last fight. I'm sure he probably stepped his wrestling up and his jiu-jitsu up to improve on what he did, what he lacked in the last fight. But shouts out to Drew for joining us last week, man, and better luck next time. Now this week, of course, we got Queen. We got the queen of hip hop. There's no doubt that she is the queen of hip hop. She is the first, and she is probably definitely gonna be the last MC, female MC ever to come out of New York City. We got the legendary MC Shy Rock. What's up, Shy?
Absolutely.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing? How you doing? What up? What up? Where I'm at. What show I'm on?
Is it live?
That's what I'm talking about.
There we go.
There it is. There you go.
That's what I'm talking about.
How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How y'all doing?
It is finally great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm proud to be here.
Oh man, that's great.
So this is International Women's Day
today.
And
let's give the women a clap. Let's give the women a clap. Shout out to the women around the world.
Yes. And it's Women's History Month.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So what better way to celebrate International Women's Day today and Women's History Month with having the mother of the mic? Come on.
Say that again.
The mother of the mic. The mother of the mic.
Okay.
The mother of the mic, the luminary icon, the first female of hip hop culture, the first female MC of hip hop culture, MC Shy Rock.
Period.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, I'm not mad. I'm not mad to have you on the show for about 15 years with the Culture Shock School Tour through the Houston Alexander Foundation. We've been teaching the kids about you being the first female of rap, literally in schools in Omaha, Nebraska, and all over surrounding areas for almost 15 years. So thank you. We are honored to have you on the Elements Live show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for having me. I appreciate you.
So Shy, I've had the honor to work with you in the past. You're my hip hop sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot in the
You're
past.
my brother, right?
Absolutely. So it is an honor for sure. But for everyone who's watching, right? Let's take it back to the beginning. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the 70s.
Yes.
Let's talk about the beginning of hip hop.
Yes.
Let's talk about you being a b-girl.
Yes.
Before you were an MC.
All of that.
Talk to us about your beginnings and how it all started for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. So to your audience out there that don't know who Shy Rock is, to all your audience out there and all platforms that y'all are running, the MC Shy Rock interview, Let me explain to y'all. And I say this as humble as I can be. As we go on, I don't want, I don't want y'all to feel that it's like I'm not humble in all of this, because the culture of hip hop and all the elements that it represents has humbled me as a young girl growing up in the Bronx, and also as a woman today. So for me, for most people that say that the beginning of the culture started in 1973, for me, I came on in 1976 as a B girl. I was a nomadic B girl. And this story I have told to every person that interviewed me. And it may sound redundant, but I want people to understand what really truly happened for females on the front line, especially myself as Sharrock. So in 1976, I was a nomadic B girl who had joined, I should say was taught by a couple of my friends, that we went to school, in junior high school. And from there, I used to travel, all over, the Bronx to B girl, with the B boys, and all of that stuff. And I was taught how to do certain moves that was synonymous in the street at that time. So along with, people like Charlie Rock from the Zulu Nation, the A1, B-boy that was also down with the Zulu Kings, I used to run into him a lot. Keith and Kevin, that was called the Nigger Twins. I used to run into them a lot, and they were my idols. They were my B-boy idols. You know what I'm saying? And so even though before me, I heard of people like Sasa, that was, up,
Yes.
and we're hurting them, but I had never met them during that time. My era that I knew about was the twins, Keith and Kevin. And so, or Charlie Rock. And so, I used to, go around and be girl, to the different, parks and jams that was playing that would allow me to be able to enter as a teenager, which was mostly like park jams, or outside, in the street, or any type of, a venue that was catering to young teenagers that were my age. And so the music is what drew me to becoming that B girl, because, with my parents being, like musicians, and was like always really into, music, and introducing me to people like, Millie Jackson or James Brown or Elvis Presley, or,
Wow.
yes, the Jackson 5. Or Isaac Hayes. I was always into the music and the beats, and what made me gravitate towards becoming a B girl was those synonymous beats that were being displayed and played in the streets and the parks of New York City, or the Bronx, I should say, at that time. So for me, it started in 1976 as a B girl, nomadic B girl, I should say. And also, just like I tell everybody, I say, listen, if you was a nomadic B girl or B-boy, you went around to all the parties, all the jams that was happening, throughout the Bronx. So you basically knew who was out there, who was, there at those spots, who were playing, who was waiting for that certain break beat, to come, to be played. And you just standing there waiting for that certain part so you could just hit the floor and start dancing. So we basically knew everybody, or we even if you didn't know their names, you'd seen the same people that would travel to the different areas, to be able to hear those break beats in the South Bronx, or in the Bronx, or even in the Northeast Bronx for that matter.
Right.
What's interesting, Shy, is this, as a B-boy from Nebraska,
Wow.
all we saw on the big screen was Baby Legs. And we thought Baby Legs from B Street was the
Crazy
only
Legs.
thing. How was that?
Crazy Legs?
No. Baby Legs, the female that was in the battle.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, from B Street. Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Baby Legs. We thought Baby Legs was literally the only B girl in the world at the time. Now
Really?
we're watching this coming out of Nebraska, so you just got to understand where we're coming from. So to hear you say that, hey, I was a B girl, that's dope. So what I need to ask you, because after talking to Curtis Blow a couple of weeks ago, it seems to me that they were b-boying before they were actually DJing. How far back does b-boying and b-girling go back? Because Curtis was saying he was a b-boy even before 73.
And he probably was. He probably was. And I'm never going to take that from nobody. What I do know is that when I came into the game, the elements like all the elements that were like, really like coming together, even though, for hip hop, and we get into that later, it wasn't called hip hop. But the thing is that all the elements were beginning to start coming together. For me, I can't speak on anybody else, but I know for me in 1976, that's my time. That's my time.
If you
So I
have
can't.
People, I'm sorry, if you have people teaching you, it had to be someone before, before you, and
I agree.
earlier
Of
in the
course.
70s, correct?
Of course. Yeah, for me, and I don't want to get it twisted that girl started 6. That's not what I'm saying. For Chirac was 1976.
Now, what I'm trying to get
Right.
What I'm trying to get to with my question, I'm sorry, is how early do you think b-boy and the b-girl thing started? Because I think that's the root that we're trying to get to. Because if you're doing it in 76 and you have people teaching you before that, how far back do you think the b-boy b-girl thing go back?
Talk and they can say, okay, this for me, this happened at that specific time. But when I talk to people, that are somewhat of historians and were b-boys before I was a b-girl, from what they tell me is that it was a different form of the way that people were rocking back then. Like say for instance, the moves and the breakdance, it wasn't called b-boys and b-girls. It was just called burning. At the where you just like you weren't doing moves, but it wasn't like the like the upright type of things or the floor moves or whatever. It was just called burning, but it wasn't, so I don't know. I can't speak on. I just listened to what people told me that are historians before I came into the game, that I trust being a historian, and just not going to just put that information out there just to do it. But for what I was told by different people, it was just, that was out, like Dancing Doug and all that stuff. They were saying like, it was just a different form of the way that they was rocking, at the time in the before, I think 74 or something like that,
Did you have a b-girl name? Did you have a b-girl name outside of Chirac, or has it always been Chirac?
No, it has not always been Chirac. I was just called Sharon. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't get the name of Chirac until, I became an MC when I first tried out. Even though my real name is Sharon, it's either they would call me Sha, or Sharon, but not the rock behind it, until I became that MC in the end of 1977.
So I've heard, b-boying going back as far as about 70, 71, as early as 70 and 71. Going into 73, obviously, with the beginnings of what we now call hip hop.
Right. So when they talk to you about it, did they say about did they talk about the different types of moves that was going on? Was the moves different?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They were saying that it was called burning. Then I'm gonna burn that. It was a different form of dance. And it evolved to the b-boying, and it evolved to more floor moves. And things of that. Right. So for you were a b-girl, 76.
Yes.
What happened?
Straight out of junior high school.
What made you go from dancing to want to be an MC? What happened?
So 76, I'm rocking. I'm a b-girl. I'm going around, just the parties, begging my mom to let me be able to go. Being a young female in the Bronx at that time, it was a lot of stuff going on, and it had curfews, right? But I used to break those curfews a lot, and I got whippings a lot, even at that age, because
of course
I didn't meet my curfew. But guess what? It was like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. But that was when the parties were really beginning to start jumping, and so I got in trouble so much. Yeah, I got in, and I knew that whipping was coming. I just said, I'm gonna take it. When I get there, I'm just gonna take it, and just because I knew I wasn't gonna make the curfew. It wasn't like I was staying out 2-3 hours behind. I was getting home maybe like an hour or so, turning into like what Cinderella, making sure that I can get home in a reasonable time where she wouldn't be too mad and too worried. My mom wouldn't be too mad and too worried. So 76, I'm rocking. At the end of 77, right? Around November, December time, the Brothers Disco, DJ Breakout, DJ Baron,
yes,
Jazzy D, they were at a party, right? And so a young man by the name of Richie T, which was like a part of, you know, the Brothers Disco, he was passing out flyers, you know, at Evander Childs High School, which is in the Northeast Bronx. That was a school that I was going to. Even though I lived downtown in the South, I was attending Evander High School in the Northeast Bronx. So he was passing out flyers. And he basically said, well, you know, we're having a party. We're looking for MCs. You know, if y'all want to come and try out, you can come and try out. Okay. So I had a friend that I had met, this young lady by the name of Emcee, and she used to call herself Emcee Rock, but she lived up in Edenwald Projects, which was up northeast uptown Bronx. And she went to Evander High School. And so I met her and I showed her the flyer. I said, listen, I'm gonna go and audition for this, you know, to be a MC. So she said, well, what is an MC? I said, well, he said it's like, you know, just rhyming on the microphone. And so with me, you know, I had come from the background of music, and growing up, you know, my mom used to enter me into like talent shows on Avenue, 169th Street, and like, you know, the Webster Project Center, because we lived over in that area, you know, when we first hit New York from North Carolina. So she used to enter me and should write my rhymes so I can do poetry at the youth center that was, you know, on Webster Avenue, you know, this Avenue. And so I felt like, because I had experience, you know, being in front of a crowd as a young teenager, you know, and because my mom used to have us in all kind of things, anything that was going on in New York City and Harlem, whatever, she would have us, you know, me and my sisters and my brothers enter into things, you know, she would help us out, dress us up, you know, whether or not it's African dances, you know, talent shows, my mom would put us into those things. And so
hey, let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Your mom helped you write your rhymes at
she
first.
wrote it for me. She didn't help, she wrote it. My mom wrote the rhymes for me. Yeah, she wrote my rhymes for me because it was a little poetry. You know, it was a contest, but it was for the youths that was, you know, doing something at the center. You know, in on Webster Avenue where I used to live. I lived across the street from Webster Avenue in like these little apartment buildings. So once my mom found out that they were doing different kind of activities at this center, she enrolled me in the you know, in the activities that they had. Me and my sisters and brothers used to write my poetry for me. My mom did. Okay, so you know, they had the audition day. That day I went home, right? And so I was like, okay, so I need to write something, or I need to practice or say something, you know, to get ready for it. So going home in the 41 bus in the Bronx, you know, that was on White Plains Road, I started writing, you know, like a rhyme. And it wasn't coming into place, you know, I didn't have that feel. So I went home, tried to beg my mom, said, Mom, you know, they're having, you know, like an audition. I want to do poetry, because at the time I knew it was about rhyming and poetry and whatever. So I took her by saying it's poetry, because that's something that she wanted me to get into, right? And so and even with this story, it's like I never really had told the story, because I never really connected the story, but I talk about it, you know, in my book. But a lot of times I do the interviews, and for me, you know, I like to give everybody like a little bit more than what I gave the next person. You understand what I'm saying? So that way the interviews don't always be the same as the next one, you know, or it can be more intriguing. And so what I did was I wound up doing, you know, me and Emcee, we met at 216th Street and White Plains Road. Then we had the young man, you know, that was Richie T, you know, he came and got us from the train station, and then took us over to DJ Breakout's house. And so we both, I told her, I said, well, look, I'm gonna audition for it. You should try out for it too. So she was like, well, I'm gonna try out for it too. But she didn't have a rhyme, you know, worked up or whatever. But then I had my rhyme. And so once I did the rhyme, then Jazzy D, which was the manager of the Brothers Disco and later on to be the manager of the Funky Four, asked me to, say a rhyme. And I did. So he was like, okay, you know, the next time, you know, we give a show, you'll be performing with us. But what happened was, during the time, you know, at the end of 77 or 78, they already have like the flyers out, and it depends on who did the flyers. You know, either our names may have been on the flyers, or it may not, or my name wasn't on the flyers. But it was me, KK, and Keith, that was a part of the group before we became the Funky Four with Raheem, you know, in March of 1978. So we were performing, but sometimes Muti, she would go and she'll get on the microphone and she'll be like, you know, just playing around. She'd be like, I'm Mussy Rock and I don't give a fuck. You know, she'll say some stuff like that. But then she was playing around with it, but she didn't really have you know, like a rhyme or whatever. And she wasn't really like serious about it because she had begun to started dating a DJ Breakout, which was our DJ. And so the thing is that that's what happened for me, you know, by becoming, you know, not only the first female MC, but also, you know, in 1978, when Raheem came in March of 78, that's when we became the Funky, you know, we became the Funky Four, but I was already rhyming with KK and Keith, you know, at some of the parties that they were having, you know.
Okay. So let me get this straight. Let me, you know, color this up just a little bit and clarify. So you were a B-girl. You decided to have motivation to want to rhyme. Your mother helped you with poetry, and you ended up trying out to get down with DJ Breakout and Baron. Salute to them. They were big DJs in the Bronx called the Brothers Disco at the time, right?
True. Absolutely.
So you're the first female MC. Who was the first male MC that you heard?
Cowboy.
Okay.
Keith Cowboy, that was later the first rap. Now, we all know that Coke La Rock, and from the stories that I had, because I hadn't yet met Coke La Rock, but I saw Keith Cowboy first, only because me and Cowboy lived in the same neighborhood. And then Cowboy used to date, you know, my sister's best friend. So I knew Cowboy before I knew the Furious, before I knew anybody, because Cowboy, you know, came to a party that my sister friend was having. It was like a hole in the wall party, you know, that was in, you know, like a storefront, you know, on 165th and Washington, right on the corner of 165th and Washington. And Cowboy lived, you know, up the stairs on Boston Road. So only thing, he used to always take the stairs, you know, come down. He was dating my sister's friend my sister's best friend at the time. And Cowboy was just getting on the mic, just doing, you know, saying rhymes, but he was doing mostly like, you know, what you say, a cause and effect, crowd pleaser. You know, he was just saying, you know, just hype things, but he wasn't, he rhymed, but then he just mostly did like chants. And that's who introduced me to, you know, the how can I say, the ambiance of rhyming, because Cowboy is who I saw first. Not to say that he was first, but Cowboy is who I saw first.
Who you saw first. So
so
what I need to ask is this, and you say you saw Cowboy, but where did you get your cadence from? So because I'm sure, you know, your mom just didn't give you rhymes and you just started, you know, just belting them out. You had to have some type of style, some type of cadence. Where did you get? Where do you think you got your cadence from? Your rhyme style, just your overall, you know, take on how you rhymed.
So when you talk about MCs, you know, because we're, you know, 78, you know, and I tell people, regardless of what you may hear from me from a female perspective, 1978 was a pivotal year for everybody, you know, in hip hop culture.
Yes.
They can say 75, 76, 73, 71. This is when I started. No, 78 was really when it kicked it off, because that's when all the elements was coming together. Now, for me, and I'll tell you about this, you know, I heard Mel, you know, in 1978, and how I heard Mel, even though I had a cadence and I had a style and the poetry led into it, and I heard Mel in 1978 when I was attending Evander Childs High School on a cassette tape. You know, because there were some kids standing, you know, across the street from Evander. They had their box. Keith and Kevin used to be up there a lot. So Keith and Kevin, which was the nigga twins, they were in front of Evander, you know, waiting, because everybody had different lunch periods. So they was in front of Evander with, you know, like a box that had music on it. And so I heard a tape of Mel's voice. And so my thing is that always, even though, you know, my mom wrote the poetry, you know, I had influences like James Brown. I had influences like, you know, Nikki Giovanni and all of those people, and Isaac Hayes that was around me. I loved them because of the way their cadence was. Mel is the one who really, really put the stamp on it and influenced me as a female because of his cadence. And so as I had begun to, watch his move and the way that he commanded the crowd, I said, okay, so if he can command the crowd, then I could do it too, because I know how to be able to deliver, how could I say, deliver my rhymes in a way that I can engage the crowd and have them mesmerized, because I learned from the other artists before, like the Jacksons, or the Elvis Presleys. Forget what anybody say. If y'all didn't grow up on him, whatever. Not saying that he was the main source, but I was introduced to a whole lot of people from different genres of music that made me an MC that I was. But Mel is the one who really
in a subliminal way, you've learned from all those artists all in one, in a subliminal way.
Rhyme cadence. You know what I'm saying? Engagement in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? To be able to control the crowd, because that's what you learn as you went on. What's an MC? An MC is a mic controller. The MC is the master of ceremony. And so for me, being that MC, and especially being a female MC, my whole thing was, a lot of times if people look at me or they'll see me, I would just stand there. I wasn't focusing on anything else, but just engage in the crowd. So I used to always want to be able to use a certain type of beat. And DJ Barron was the one that played the soft music, the Edwin Stars, that type of music, or bra, something that people could hear my rhyme. They could feel the cadence of my rhyme. And there was no other distractions, no other beats, no other noise, no other b-boy, type of music. They was focusing on my delivery, as the female MC that was with the Funky Four. And so this is International Month, right? And I want to say this before y'all start asking, a lot of questions. Yeah. A lot of times for me, being a female MC, and I have to let your audience know, because there's some misconception, and for women that's out there, that were trailblazers, it doesn't matter, what you were doing. Some people know Sha-Rock and some people don't know Sha-Rock. But after me, there was a lot of females that came on that was killing it, that hold their ground, that were MCs out there that rock for the cause, like I rock for the cause. Right. The only problem that I have is for some people that wasn't on the front line, right? That after all of these 40 years, or 46, 40, or we almost coming up on 50 years, that try to change the narrative of the story. Some people like you have other groups that say, oh, I had a female, before Sha-Rock. You know what I'm saying? Our group had a female. Some people were saying I was bgirling with Sha-Rock. Some people say I was before Sha-Rock. My thing is that I had allowed them to tell the truth, because I knew that I was coming out with this movie. And I wanted them to tell the truth and tell the history. And so all the information that shows who I am, I'm saying, I waited to display that information because I gave them the opportunity to tell the truth. But when you don't come out and you don't tell the truth, and you lead people to believe that Sha-Rock is not the first female MC of hip hop culture, it does a disservice to women around the world, because any woman, that know what they did for the culture could prove that what they did in anything that they do. It does a disservice to you to try to take that history away from them. And I never understood, why would you want to do that? So what I did was I started shutting down every person that had a debate. They would say, well, Sha-Rock was the most prominent. No, you couldn't have been there. You couldn't have been there to understand. First thing they want to do is say, well, I was out there rapping at 10 years old. I was on Herc's mic. I was at this place. We didn't play in the Bronx, but we went to another section. That's why you didn't know about me. You know what I'm saying? But nobody can prove nothing. And one of the things they say, well, we didn't have the opportunity to have, flyers. We wish we would have had this stuff, or then it could prove who we were. But the fact is that when people say something, well, they mention Sha-Rock, but what about this person? And what about that person? What about that person? What they fail to realize is that I'm out there speaking on the things that I speak on that reflects me, not no other female. Because there was a time that I used to fight for everybody, their story, right? Especially in the Bronx, right? Because I felt like it was necessary for people to understand that females were already on the front line. But then I start seeing that when I'm fighting for everybody else, the narrative had begun to start changing. So my story as the first female of hip hop culture was being lost, right? Because I had a female told me, okay, Sharab, we want to do something together, you know, me and a couple of other females. But when we out there, let's not talk about what you did. We starting this group. Let's just talk about what we doing, you know, as a group. And when I started seeing that what you're trying to do is suppress the information of who I am and what I did, I fall back and reneged on becoming a part, you know, of that female group simply because I felt like, you know, you wasn't doing me a disservice by trying to suppress my information. So my thing is that for all your audience and everybody that's listening, I'm not trying to take anything from nobody else because women was on the front line. But the thing is that I am who I say I am. So if you don't have the information to prove it, I do. The streets of New York that was out there know what I did. I was a part of a culture of the first rap battles ever that no other female was a part of before me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't this Sharrock just had a record deal. She was the first female that had a record deal, you know, from New York City. It wasn't the fact that I was a part of an all-male group. I was a part of the first rap battles. I was a part of the style of rhyming. And 1978 was kicking off. We were the first group, along with the Furious Five, that had rap cadence to ensure that when I said a rhyme, I would pass the rhyme over to the next person to rhyme with a outro for them to come in. We was a part of the person that I was a part of the era that made, you know, the made the culture as to what it is as emceeing, as to, you know, the cadence and the styles of rhyming. You understand what I'm saying?
You know, hey, you know what, Sean?
No,
you know what, Sean? Yeah, hey, when
I ain't finished yet. I ain't finished
oh,
yet.
my bad, because I was gonna make a great point that would have added on to what you were saying. Yeah. You were including people, but at the same time they were excluding you.
Right.
They were trying to exclude you.
Or align themselves in the same time frame that I was. Because once you do that, then you solidify yourself as saying, okay, well, if Sharrock co-signed, you know what I'm saying, that means that what you're saying is true. But in the meanwhile, for the last 10 years or so, I be speaking up for my history. It's only right that they speak up for their history. If somebody like say come on Twitter and they say, yes, Sharrock was good, or come on Facebook and say Sharrock good, but what about this person? What about that person? What about that person? That person needs to speak up of what they brought to the contributions of hip hop culture. I'm telling you who I am and what I did. I'm telling you that I'm the first female MC of hip hop culture, because you can say you were there, but who did you influence? Who did you influence?
So Sha, let me say this. Let me say this for you, right? First off, the Flyers.
I'm not talking about somebody like, you know, like people that's close to me. I'm talking about all of these people that come from nowhere and say, well, I was there before Sharrock, you know, and this and that, you know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is that I'm not going to let them do that, you know?
And you shouldn't. And you shouldn't.
I did for a long time. I did for a long time.
Right. And to me, listen, the Flyers don't lie, okay?
Cassette tapes don't lie.
Cassette tapes don't lie.
Only if you are a type of person that would change the dates and the time to reflect your agenda.
But listen,
and I knew some people that did that.
But listen, there's another way to prove things. You ask the people that were there, right? I've talked to enough your male counterparts that were there, enough male MCs, enough legendary MCs, enough legendary DJs, and I've never heard a dispute that Sharrock wasn't the first. Okay, so.
But this is the thing. Let me tell you this. But let me tell you this. There's a lot of people that was there that didn't really know the history to this day. That still don't understand what really went down.
Right.
Because it has never been talked about until I had to show them and prove them and say, listen, this is what it is. Stop it.
Absolutely.
This is what it is. Because nobody can say all the things that I've told you, from the rap battles to the cadence. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, I'm not trying to be disrespectful for nobody, but I gave breath to all the female MCs. Even during my era, I did that. because I was a part of a group that was the first organized and synchronized group in the history of New York City and the history of hip hop culture, which was the Funky Four and the Funky Four plus one more.
So I
hey,
don't.
Rep, hold on for a second. Do you think it hurts you to remain quiet for those many years and let all these people do all that talking? Do you think it hurts you by remaining quiet? Because a very important friend of mine told me you have to make sure you toot your own horn just to remind people how great you are. So
Okay.
do you think that being quiet for that while hurt you?
So let me tell you what happened to me. During the time in the 80s, right? I had gotten married. I had moved out of New York City. I traveled to Germany. I was traveling all over the world because my spouse was a military soldier. So I didn't know what was going on back in New York City. I didn't know what was being said in California, all around the world. So what you did was you had a bunch of, female MCs, and I say this out of respect to people that don't know, they will all click together and go out on tour together. So if they're not speaking on Chiraq, then they don't know my history. You understand what I'm saying? Because people ain't gonna tell your history because they have their own agenda. So it wasn't until I came back from Germany and wanted a female, her name was Kimba, and she's an MC. She's like an early on female MC that some of y'all may not know about, but she later on became a part of DXT. She had called me and she was like, listen, Chiraq, you need to really like school people on what's going on, because a lot of people is going around saying stuff, and I know for a fact that's not true, whatever. So you need to check them and check them now. And this was back in 1993. So from 93, when I came back from Germany, I'd be checking them. You understand? Because my thing is that, I love all the female MCs out there, right? And I say this as humbly as I can, man. And I don't want people to think, you know what I'm saying? I've always had a second plan. So I love hip hop culture. This is who made me. You know what I'm saying? But this is my family's history. This is hip hop history. This is women's history. This is international history. And for anybody to just say, or come in and say, well, okay, Chiraq's not the first, or I was there with Chiraq. So prove I'm not. And prove, how did you come before me? Because if you're just talking about word of mouth, you know what I'm saying? You must be clear, even if it's somebody from, that rock with you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I have proof who I am. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I say that I did. I as a female helped started the rap battles before anybody. You understand what I'm saying? The MC Cadence. I'm the first female, you know what I'm saying, that were on cassette tapes. You know what I'm saying? That really started back. Now people could say they did this, they did that, they did it, whatever. The thing is that they weren't the first female that was a part of the hip hop culture that were doing more than 16 bars. I'm the first female that did that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm the first female that played, just about in every venue in New York City and outside of New York City. I'm the only female that's on about 500 flyers than any other female from 1978 until 1983. So forget what somebody told you. I can prove it. I played at all venues that you could even imagine. You understand what I'm saying? And I say that because a lot of them didn't get to perform in those venues. Right. And so this is why you hear people like DMC, or you hear people like Common, you know what I'm saying? Or you hear people like Fat Joe say, well, Chiraq, because I was that MC that was on the street, that was the first female MC that was influential to not only males, but females.
Absolutely. So Sha, let's get to some of the music, because this is my thing. And I'm gonna bring that part to a close. I don't disagree with you at all. There's a lot of females that contributed to hip hop.
They did.
I won't say a lot. There was a few, right?
Right. And we must give them credit.
Yes. And I'm talking about the first era. I'm not talking about 80s. I'm talking about the 70s. There was a few, a handful. Okay. I believe you being the first is a responsibility with being the first. There's going to be a lot of hate, a lot of doubt, a lot of whatever. But the music and your impact speaks for itself. It just does. And
But
the
you
way
know the
you
crazy thing
impacted,
about it. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, and then I'll let you go on because this is very important that what people understand. The
Speak,
thing
hey,
is
speak
is
on it.
that
Speak
the
on it.
thing is that you're talking about for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm rhyming on the street. I'm in those parks. I'm in every place that no other female ever played at. Yeah, they came later, but I was the first to hit those streets with the mighty mighty Sasquatch, the Funky Four,
yes,
and the Funky 4+1. I'm the first female that you could hear my block from 20 blocks away from the mighty Sasquatch system because we had the baddest system, at the time that was in the Bronx that could have went on to Queens and New York City, even though you had the twins and you had the disco twins and you had, some people up at Mount Vernon, but you would hear my voice. I'm the first female MC that used the echo chamber. You understand what I'm
yep,
saying behind that voice? Now, what people don't understand, right, is because when you have commentators that don't know hip hop history, and this is why I like doing interviews with people that know the history, or if you don't know it, you do your research and you find
right,
out. You know what I'm saying? Because you ask the right questions. Because a lot of people don't ask the right questions, and they allow certain people to say certain things. They don't check them on it. You understand what I'm saying? Because they be so glad to get the interview that they just let everything go over what they say. If they say, okay, who's the first female MC? And the person say, well, I don't know. I didn't hear about that person yet, but only thing I know is from, right. If you wasn't in our area, you wasn't in the mix of what was going on at that time, you probably wouldn't have heard about Shy Rock or the Funky Four if you wasn't in hip hop culture. So a lot of people would, okay, well, what about this person? They came out with a song in 1979, so they're like the first. But okay, so I came out with a song in 1979 too. I'm the first female that had a record deal, authentic MC from the
right.
streets of New York that had a record deal with Joy Record, with the Funky Four, and then later on went over to Sugar Hill. So for me, I didn't come into the game as a rap artist. I was an MC on the streets of New York that was a founding member of the culture, because in 78 was when the culture was moving forward, that everything that was coming together, the battles, you know what I'm saying, the cadence of the flyers, or the way that the flyers were made. You understand what I'm saying? The gear that I wear with
Yes,
the graffiti on my pants. I'm a part of the group, that had her own security, which was the Sisters Disco. Y'all was a part of the first organized, synchronized hip hop group,
right.
ever, along with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. So my thing is that I came before the rap era on records. This is what people need to know. I came
Well, that's
before
a
the
great
rap
that's a great
records
point.
in
And
1979.
see, and that's a great point. That's the reason why I brought up the fact that you were a B girl
Mm-hmm.
before you were an MC.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a lot of firsts, right? That's why I brought up the fact that you were a B girl, because that means that you were really, really a part of the culture and the scene at the time.
True.
And then you decided to be an MC. You
Mm-hmm.
try out for Breakout and Baron's group. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Breakout and Baron, let's talk about it and let's get to the records. So you have Grandmaster Flash, the three MCs. Well, it's Flash, Cowboy, the three MCs, the four
And
MCs,
Creole
then
and
the
Mel.
Philly Five.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, you got Bambaataa with the Soul Sonic Force. Okay, you got Herc and the Herculoids. You
So let's
got
go back.
DJ Breakout and
Let's go
Baron.
back to Bam. Let's go back to Bam. With Bam, Bam had, he had, like the society, and he had
Right,
them, and Bam was playing. Friend Charlie Rock, he was one of the MCs that was a part of Bam's group. Now, with Bam's situation is that sometimes Bam would go and play in some different places, like in the Bronx, but people wouldn't come to Bronx River. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Not a whole bunch of crowd, because it is synonymous of the atmosphere of Bronx River at that time. So Bam and Breakout is very close. They still close to this day. So Bam got with Breakout and our manager and say, listen, let's form an alliance. We want you to bring the Funky Four in Bronx River, so that way, hold your crowd, because we had everybody from uptown and we had everybody from downtown following Funky Four wherever they go, and the Funky 4+1
right.
wherever they go. So he wanted to form an alliance with Jazzy to bring our crowd into Bronx River, That way, you know, it could be the unity of the fun of everybody rocking together. The same as Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Their manager, which was Ray Chandler, did the same thing to Donnell. What he did was he said, y'all got crowds from uptown, you got to go downtown. Flash and them was running downtown. Because KK, myself, and Keith lived downtown, and Raheem lived downtown, we begin to start playing downtown as well, you know, in Flash and them area. And so, or Boston Road, wherever they play. So we formed an alliance with Ray Chandler to be able to bring our crowd that was from town and downtown to all the parties, and they wanted to make money together. The same thing as Mario as well. He formed the same alliance with my manager, Jazzy D. You understand what I'm saying? To form that same alliance. And you're talking about
Disco King Mario.
King Mario, right.
Yes.
Right. And so there was a lot of times that Mario would ask, he was going through a phase where he didn't have MCs. Busy B was his MC at one time. I could see was in one time. Mario was giving a party. Mario would call Jazzy D and say, "Can you bring Sha-Rock down here?" You know what I'm saying? If y'all coming, bring Sha-Rock down here, and you know, let her get on the mic. And Jazzy D would do it because if we was given a party next week or that next day, that was his opportunity, you know, for, you know, for everybody to know about the parties that was coming up, and it gave him an opportunity to come, you know, and pass out flyers with the respect of Mario. You know what I'm saying? So we formed an alliance, you know, with a lot of groups that was, you know, in the Bronx at that time, major groups that was in the Bronx at that time.
Right.
You know what's interesting to me, and I'm listening to you with all the passion that you have in your voice.
Yes.
Me hearing a lot of MCs over the years. When I first heard you rhyme, I thought you were even in that era in the early '70s, early '70s, and early '80s. I thought you, as far as your rhyme pattern, your voice, was powerful. It was a lot more powerful than a lot of the MCs, male or female, that I heard coming out of those era. Your rhyme patterns were on point. Your cadence, everything was on point with you. So I can understand why a lot of people hated on you, because you were a lot better. You were maybe 80% better than anyone that was out there at the time. Even today, you probably are still probably better than half the people that are out there. So what?
But you know what? I never. But to be honest with you, Houston, if they did, I never saw it. You understand what I'm saying? Because the love was always not. If they did it undercover, I don't know, because I never saw it. I always had the respect that I knew from male and female out there during my era. So I never witnessed it. I see it now, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to talk about the, you know, the history, and everybody feels like they're being left out of the story. And I get it. Because a lot of people has contributed to the culture. They did. You know what I'm saying? Right. And they have their stories that they needed to tell as well, because everybody role that they played in hip hop culture is just important as my story. But the problem that I have is that don't lie about what is the truth. You know what I'm saying? Or don't try to take away what you know that's not the truth. You understand what I'm saying? By telling
absolutely. And I hear you, Sha, and I understand, and I know between me and you, we've had a lot of these conversations in the past, right? And you know, I totally get it. But I also understand your impact and your influence on the culture, male and female. I've talked to DMC. He's personally told me, you know, when he heard you on those tapes, that echo chamber, and he heard you, he knew he wanted to be an MC, and that's a male hearing a female. So it wasn't about gender, it was about influence and impact. And even Breakout has told me, he said, when we heard Sha, when we heard her voice, we knew she had it. So with that being said, talk to us about the records. You're in the Funky Four now. Funky Four +1. It's time to make records. It's time to make Rapping and Rocking the House. It's time to make That's the Joint. It's time to make records, not park jams, not mixtapes. It's time to make records. Talk to us about what happened. Talk to us about the records.
Well, with the records, we did it. I used to travel with GD, which was Dono. He was like my oldest brother, you know, but older brother. Even though I had a brother, but he was like the older brother and was very protected of me. So a lot of times I would travel around with him because a lot of people like Bam or, you know, Mario or, you know, anybody that was in the industry, Ray Chandler, you know, will always be like, you know, Chirac, you know, you got a good, not to take nothing from the Funky Four because those was my group, but they was like, Chirac, you got a good, you know, Chirac is good. She was good. So they were very proud, you know, even no, for real. It's crazy though, because they act as though I was a part of their group. So they were always supportive. The managers that was a part of different groups were always supportive. And with that said, and let me say, so when that happened and I became that MC, a lot of people were, and people need to know this too, is that a lot of people and a lot of different groups were trying to emulate the formula of the Funky Four. So they had begun to start getting, you know, females or whatever. That's where you'll see people like, you know, I had, you know, people before, you know, Chirac and all that stuff, but even people who you would believe them if you knew, because you knew them, which because of all of this history and all of this coming out, the different stories and is not being told the correct way. So with Donnell, which is Jazzy D, we went down. He had somehow Bobby Robinson, you know, that was the you know, the owner of Enjoy Records, had gotten into a touch with Jazzy D, and so me and Jazzy D, we went down there together. And he said, he said, my family member told me about you, Spoonie G. He said that y'all are the hottest group, you know, in New York City at the time. So we would like to record. So he asked Jazzy D to come down, you know, and you know, talk to him. So I went with Jazzy D down to the record store, you know, where Bobby Robinson had, you know, his record store. And we talked for a while, and he told Jazzy D how he can, you know, be able to record us on records. And for us, you know, being outside, even though we were booking our own shows and we were traveling even outside of New York City, you know, we weren't just, the Funky Four wasn't just, and the Funky 4+1 wasn't just local. We travel outside of New York City. That's how people knew us, you know, from Connecticut to Staten Island, you know, to Long Island, Queens, whatever, because we didn't stay local like some groups did. We had a system. People knew who we was. We were on consecutive, so we travel around. So with Jazzy D, he said, okay, let me talk to, you know, the fellas and stuff, and we'll see, you know, what's going to happen or whether or not they're going to do it. The problem is that our parents didn't understand the music industry. All we wanted to do is rock. We wanted people to be able to hear us that was outside of New York City on a level that nobody has seen. Even though you had the Sugar Hill Records, that had the Sugar Hill Gang, that had like the biggest record in September. You know what I'm saying? We came out with ours in November, right? Of 79. And so unenjoyed records. So the thing is that we felt like, okay, we celebs, people know us in New York City. They know us in the tri-state era. If we do this record, it would begin to take us on a whole nother level where people would be able to see and hear what we were doing in the Bronx outside, you know, really outside of the Bronx. You're talking about, you know, all the way down to the, you know, the Carolinas or Florida, you know, or whatever. And so for us, you know, it was like a game changer, you know, to be able to record that record. And we did it in one tape because all we did was use the rhymes that we had already had in the streets of New York. You know what I'm saying? And went in there and did it in one take, you know, with Punkin. So that's what happened. That's what happened.
Wow. So and salute to Punkin. Incredible
We are the first ones that Punkin had ever recorded. Everybody else followed behind us because we were the ones. The Funky 4+1 was the one who brought Punkin Arrow into the game of hip hop. We the ones who brought him in. So we was the first one to record for us. Yeah, I mean to make music for us.
Right. I'm sorry, Deuce, go ahead.
Yeah. So what's interesting is this, you know, hearing that you was on the front line from day one. You were bGirl, You was rocking in the parks, and we keep hearing
consistent with
how,
it, and consistent with it.
and that's what I'm saying, and consistent. And what's really important, and we have to let our audience know, is how important the tapes were back then. Because again, you had the tapes traveling to all the boroughs in New York,
So
so
let
they
me
were
tell you
hearing
this.
Shy Rock,
Right.
or
Yes.
in all the boroughs in New
So
York.
once again, I was a part of the era, a founding member of the cassette tape era. Where they didn't have the tape era, I'm the female that was on the first cassette tapes. You understand what I'm saying? So I helped build the cassette tape era that's now the mixtape era.
Right. And then on top of that, you're starting to record. Now, what I need to ask, because this is one of my favorite moments in hip hop culture. When did Saturday Night Live come into play? Because to see you on Saturday Night Live at that point in time, I'm sure after all that came together, being on the front lines and recording in the parks, doing the tour, how did Saturday Night Live, being the first group to
That's another first.
Saturday Night Live, how did that come about?
Man,
81.
that was, yeah, right. That was a long run, right? And the thing is there was a lot of stuff that happened to get us on. There was a lot of different deals that were made. There was a lot of people that was that Sugar Hill wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. And they say no, we wanted the Funky Four. And so there were different caveats and all that stuff, and I talk about it, like in my movie script or whatever. But little Rodney C could be able to tell you, because he knows everything. But what I would say, I know the things too. But what I would say is that we were able to use Saturday Night Live through a promise that was made, for us to be in the movie Wild Style. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh.
And so, yes. And this is why the Funky Four, the total Funky Four, has never, been, because the whole thing is that we were supposed to do Saturday Night Live, and they was going to allow us to do the Saturday Night Live, but there was some caveats that the record label Sugar Hill wanted from Saturday Night Live, and all the people that were involved in that, and so we wind up doing it, and us being in Saturday Night Live, us being in Wild Style was reneged on by the record company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot behind that. So that's why you won't see Shy Rock, or you will only see Double Trouble in Saturday Night Live. In Wild Style, simply because they were allowed to leave Sugar Hill Records, while we stayed at Sugar Hill Records.
Okay, so let's break that down just a little bit so we can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have the record Rappin' Rockin' House on Enjoy Records, out of Harlem, Bobby Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, so then clearly you're smoking New York, right? You're on fire. Sylvia Robinson
the longest rap record ever.
Right, longest in time. Right. So Sylvia Robinson comes, Sugar Hill Records. She's scooping and stealing everybody, right? She's everybody. Okay, so you guys put out the hit record. It's the joint. Now you end up on Saturday Night Live in '81. Clearly, Sugar Hill Records had a strong hold on the group. Contractually, you guys couldn't do things. So I understand, and you can elaborate a little bit on it, because I want to get to your next big breakout moment for you as an MC, which I believe ended up being Beat Street.
Okay.
So Wild Style comes out. There's no Funky Four. It's Double Trouble, which is half the group.
But we were approached before anybody first in that movie. We were approached first. We were told that a rap movie was going to be made, and it was going to be about the Funky Four. We all heard the same thing. Blondie, Debbie Harry had us use her lawyers to get us off of Sugar Hill, because it was promised to us. Yes, because it was promised to us. And to me, because Sugar Hill, Miss Rob, christened my daughter in the Bronx, New York. Okay, so Sylvia Robb is my daughter's godmother. You know what I'm saying? I have the paperwork on it and all that thing. She came up to the Bronx in her Rolls Royce and christened my daughter at an Episcopal church in the Bronx, right? So the thing was is that she had promised me that she was going to do right by the Funky Four, the new Funky. When Rodney and KK left, she had promised me that she was going to do right by us, you know, especially me. That's my daughter's godmother, you know.
Right.
And it didn't happen. That's why I stayed, because I believed her word. You understand what I'm saying? And so when it's all said and done, you know, when we went to, you know, I stayed. Wild Style, you know, Rodney and KK was allowed to do Wild Style because they were free, you know, from her to do that. But we were approached first to do the movie, and we had gotten Debbie Harry's lawyer from Blondie to represent us. But my dumb ass and Kay and Keith, Keith and Jeff didn't do the right thing. We stayed.
Wow.
We stayed.
Okay. Okay.
But you know, it's still interesting. It's just still interesting to me that the Sugar Hill Gang was not the first group to, even with the hot record they had, didn't end up on Saturday Night Live, and you guys did. That's a real important part of history right there, because they had a big record at the time.
You know what happened?
You end up on Saturday Night Live.
And let me explain something to you. I never want to take anything from the Sugar Hill Gang. When I was young, I was mad as hell. I got to tell y'all, because I was on the streets of New York, you know, rhyming. I don't know how everybody else did, but I took it serious, you know, because I'm rhyming, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, they came out with a hot record. But I can never take anything from them because they have the hottest record ever. The difference between our song and their song is that Sylvia knew how to market. She knew how to market. Right. She had the reach, you know what I'm saying, at that time to distribute the songs wherever she needed to go. I think if we had, you know, That's the Joint, or we had Rappin' Rockin' House, and at the time, our song probably would have did just as good as they song did, you know, if we was out there first. But the thing is that we cannot take nothing from them, because when you hear Rappers Delight, it's still a song that is synonymous in rap records. You understand what I'm saying? That when I hear the song, I still go crazy. So I'm going to always give them respect. When I was younger, I seen it in a different way. I was just like mad as hell, because I was like, you know, they first make a record. But I cannot take nothing from them. You know, I'm older now. I'm wiser now. And you have to give them the respect of their song, you know, because you hear it and you still rock to it.
Well, you give them respect for the song, but you don't have to give them the respect of how it came together. You know what I'm saying? You was on the front lines. Them dudes weren't on the front lines like y'all was. So you can respect the record, but not respect how the fuck they got together.
But damn. Okay.
I'm just saying because you're on the front line, and for you to see you know, that come together like in that way, and it wasn't y'all on the, you know, to come out first.
I know, but okay,
it would have made me mad.
So Houston, well, I was as a teenager, but at the same time, we still everybody that wasn't a part of New York City, their songs was synonymous in New York City. At the clubs, they was rocking. So New York, they loved, you know, let's say they loved the Sequence, they loved the Gang, because they brought a different element and style of rapping, you know. Right. You know what I'm saying? Well, I wouldn't say a different style. I'm just saying it was just different, you know. I wouldn't say, But you have to respect that, you know.
And I agree with you both. And you know, I just look at it like the Sugar Hill Gang was a manufactured group with a few hit records. They had some big records, but they weren't from the active hip hop scene and the culture of the Bronx or New York, for that matter, right?
But see, and I think that's where people get it confused, because when they say hip hop, the thing is that a lot of people didn't know about what was going on in the streets of New York if they wasn't a part of that movement. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
I'm saying early on. I wouldn't say that now, because a lot of people celebrate, you know, and they feel it, they feel it like they transform over to Cali. You had Islam that went to Cali, that bought a lot of, the stuff
Absolutely.
that we was doing, in the Bronx, so it went around. But I'm saying, I'm talking about early on, unless you was in the gulf of the culture, you know what I'm saying? You would have never known what was going on in hip hop culture, that all the elements that represented the culture from its early years,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's why you can't. You also got to credit the Sugar Hill Gang and the
Yes.
records, because outside of New York, nobody. I mean, listen, Rapper's Delight was the first rap record that 95% of the whole world heard first,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So, so,
Salute. Yeah.
so,
Well,
so,
but hey, but Brett, before you
yeah,
ask that question, you still got to look at it this way. The tapes were still circulating throughout the city.
They
And
sure
with that
was.
being said,
no
in the
question.
military, you had people who were in the
They sure
military with
was.
those tapes going
Yeah,
over across seas,
no
going to
question.
different states. So
Absolutely.
even though Sugar Hill Gang came out at the time with the record, the tapes were circulating before even the
Still,
record.
right.
Oh yeah, yeah, no question. I'm just saying in general, you can discredit it. Well, you really just got to look at it for what it exactly is. What was the Sugar Hill Gang? What was the record, Rapper's Delight, versus what the Funky Four was, versus what Flash and the Furious Five was, versus
Right.
Bambaataa. It's
Right.
just, it's different, but it all works together.
But
So
it's different. But the thing is, I think the problem come into place for a lot of people, and I say this out of respect for a lot, it's that when you start breaking down what it really is, people don't want to hear that. You understand what I'm
right.
saying? I'm not
Well,
saying people in hip hop culture, but people that wasn't a part of that don't want to hear it. Because once you start breaking it down and you start telling the truth, you know what I'm saying? That's when people feelings get hurt, because
well,
it is what it is.
well, it's
To
it's
me,
it's like saying this. Disco isn't hip hop, but hip hop is everything. Because I've heard Good Times cut up a gazillion times with 100 legends rapping on it, not just the Sugar Hill Gang.
Of
So
course, we
the
were
record,
rapping. No, Rip, we was rhyming to Good Times before they did the song. That's how the song became
I know,
synonymous. You know what I'm saying? Because
I
we were
know,
already rhyming to it.
right?
but
Absolutely.
the tapes, but the tapes circulating throughout New York, throughout the
Right.
country, throughout the
Yeah.
world,
So
still tells the truth.
Yes,
absolutely,
yes,
100%.
absolutely.
So okay. So Sha, let's jump forward. You know, Hit Records, Funky Four plus one more. The group breaks up. Wild Style comes out. Half the group is in Wild Style. Next thing you know, here comes Beat Street. Beat Street comes out in '84. The next thing that we know is we see Sha Rock on the big screen with the Us Girls, right?
True.
So, how did the Beat Street thing happen quickly?
Okay.
And give us a quick little story, because I believe there's some people that ended up in B Street only because of you.
Right.
So just talk to us a little bit about B Street, really quick.
Because they may not know it, but I was a hustler for hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? Anything that I heard, was going, I was always traveling around to try to, like get involved in what was going on at that time. So how I got into B Street was also during the time when Wild Style was being made and the Funky Four was going through their breakup and all of that stuff, but it was before, Wild Style was before B Street. But this all came into place because the Funky Four was going through a breakup, right? So even though I was still with Jeff and Keith, I was trying to get off that record label, right? And so I knew Lisa. Me and Lisa were very close. We had always, even though she was out of BAM's camp, that was my most closest friend, female friend, in hip hop culture. Besides, at the time, when Angie Stone was one of my good friends, and we were on the road together, right,
Yeah.
traveling
Right,
with the
right.
Sugar thing. So I knew Lisa, right, because Lisa was out there. I seen Debbie around about in 80, 81. You know what I'm saying? That's the first time that I ever see it ever. You know what I'm saying? I didn't out there. So, but I knew that I felt like she was a dope MC. So when Beat Street came around, and I see, well, when they were auditions, and I seen a flyer. Once again, my same story before, you know, how I started off as an MC. There was a flyer going around to audition for the movie Beat Street. And so for me, you know, I told Debbie D and Lisa about it, but I told Lisa, I said, listen, I want you to listen to, you know, Debbie D, you know what I'm saying? She's a good MC. We could do this together, you know, and all that stuff. And what happened was, we got together. We went down to the Roxy, which was on I think 18th Street, you know, in New York. And the Roxy was like a club at first, where, you know, it was skating, but they also hold, you know, had different parties, you know, at that place at some time, you know, at that venue.
Right.
And so Lisa and I, and Debbie, we went down there. We went up to the booth that was like this anonymous booth in the Roxy, where like all the big time people that was in the industry hung out at. But this particular time, it was for the auditions for Beat Street, and so everybody was waiting around. Lisa and I and Debbie was there. We didn't see anybody that was a part of the movie, you know, like the Dougie Fresh or the Treacherous Street. Nobody was there. We were the only female entertainers that was there. And so we was waiting. He didn't know anything about us. He finally came up, because they finally came up into the booth. Now me and Lisa and Debbie, we sitting, you know, like on the chairs, you know, up in that booth area. So Harry Belafonte finally came up in the booth. And so I was like, look, I'm going to talk to him, because we done been waiting here for a long time to try to get into this movie. So I told him, I said, listen, I went up to him, I said, listen, my name is Shyrock. You know, I said, I'm a part of a group, you know, and at the time we was just calling ourselves Empress, right? So I said, I have a group. I'm a part of a group. We're the best females here in New York City. So we would make the movie good if you allow us to be in it. So he said, really? So he said, okay. We weren't even written in the movie. You understand what I'm saying? It was nobody was written. No MCs and nothing like that was written in. I don't care what nobody said, because it was not one MC that was at those auditions when we were there. You understand? And so we wound up going down to his office. He said, come down on Tuesday. You know, went down to his office. And when we went down to his office, me, Debbie, and Lisa, we went down there. Now, you know, and I've told this story once before. I was the only one that had a recording contract. I was the only one that had 2 recording contracts. You know what I'm saying? In less than a year, right? Debbie and Lisa wasn't under, they didn't have recording contracts. They wasn't under contracts or anything like that. So he said, okay, we're going to have y'all a part of the movie. You know, we're going to get somebody to do, you know, this guy to show y'all a little dance step to do in the movie and all that stuff. And then, you know, we'll film y'all. But first, you got to just practice this song, you know, first. Right. And then y'all got to record the song. The problem is that because I was under contract, Debbie and Lisa was going to do it. They were able to do it. For me, I had to go back to Sylvia Robinson, owner of Sugar Hill Records. And I told Mr. Belafonte, I said, she's not going to let me do it. The only way she's going to let me do it is that you got to call her for her to let me do it. He said, what's the number? So I gave her the number. I gave him the number to the office. He called her the next day, whatever they worked out. You know what I'm saying? He came back the next day and said, well, you're going to be in it. But we worked something out where, you know, Melly Mel is going to do the hook in the song for the movie. So that's what they worked out. And that's how Mel and them got into it on the deal of what was made for me to get into it through Sylvia Robinson.
Okay. All right. Now, in the lieu
that's
of time,
how the Furious 5 got. That's how the Furious 5 at the time, you know, got into the movie.
So I got to highlight this part because Beat Street is my favorite movie.
Really?
But yes. Now I know Wild Style is a more authentic hip hop film.
Right.
I agree. Right. But Beat Street was my favorite movie of all time.
Why?
And
Why
I just got to add this so we can move on. I need to add some color to this because it's really interesting that I have found out that every legend, every hip hop icon that's in Beat Street had to try out to be in the film. Is that correct?
I don't know what they did. I can't speak on them. What I do know is that when Lisa and I'm not going to speak on them because I don't know what their deal was. But I know that when they had the first day they had the audition, nobody was down
that's what
there.
I mean.
Nobody was there, but Lisa, myself, and the other girl.
Now, what I need to ask is this, and this is a Beat Street question as well. Did it trip you out that they were making a movie about a culture that you helped start? So, and no matter how you got in the movie, did it trip you out to see these big people from Hollywood come out to New York to try to make a movie based on the culture y'all helped start? Well, what tell us about that?
For me, I looked at it as a different aspect, Houston, and let me tell you why. Because I missed Wild Style. I know that I was supposed to be one of those lead persons, a part of Wild Style. I missed that. You know what I'm saying? Because of what was going on with Sugar Hill Records and me trying to get off and KK and Rodney leaving. So for me personally, it was like, okay, I'm not gonna miss this one. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't even look at it as, you know, people from Hollywood coming in, you know, whatever. I said, I'm going to do whatever I have to take. He's going to call her and I'm going to be in this one because I missed the chance of being in Wild Style. So I didn't even look at it like that. And that's truth.
Well, so you didn't see it that Hollywood was just playing y'all? Playing.
No, I ain't look at it. I ain't look at it. Nope,
well, it was also Harry Belafonte, and it was also going to be a major movie.
I didn't even look at it like that.
Remember, Houston, Wild Style was a cult classic independent film. Mm-hmm. Beat Street was a major motion picture.
But I understand that. But all the people involved in Beat Street, all the people involved in Beat Street, and this is coming from our point of view, Shyrock, watching it. You know, we didn't realize that all these people were actors. And you know what? I think it disappointed me later down the line to find out that Ramo, the graffiti artists, all these people were actors. They weren't
at the time. But listen, but could you hear me? But you also got to understand. I think at that time, for me personally, none of us knew that they were actors because we weren't really watching TV like that. You understand what I'm saying? We were watching TV, but it wasn't until many years down the line I was like, oh shoot, she was in Beat Street. She was in Beat Street. She was in Beat Street. So we didn't look at it. We know, let's just say Cheech and Chong's daughter was in it. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
But at the time, we didn't look at it as being an act. After we did the movie, okay, that's Cheech and Chong's daughter. Oh, okay, that's Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee's son. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that we didn't look at Hollywood coming in and just taking over. For me, I can't even speak on all the rest of them. For me, I know I was gonna miss this shot because I missed Wild Style. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't even look at it from that level. I'm being truthful, you know.
Well, I'm personally glad you did because again, it was another shot in the arm for hip hop. You know, you had BC, everybody, the culture. Now it's phenomenal. It's worldwide. It's international, and us girls, right?
Yes,
so.
True.
Shyrock. And by the way, when you say Lisa, we're talking about Lisa Lee. Shout out to Lisa Lee.
Right. Shout out to Lisa Lee.
Shout out to Lisa Lee. She was down with Soul Sonic Force. She was in Wild Style as well as Beat Street. So
true. Respect.
So with that being said, but back to you, Shy. Okay. So Beat Street, Us Girls, boom. Now you already talked about how you got married and you know, you kind of went, you know, you went to Germany and you kind of got off the music scene. I always wanted to know why was there never a Shyrock album? Why did you never make an album? Solo album.
I made about 7 to 8 songs with DJ WizKid and Emcee. You know what I'm saying? And I was going to put it out there. Angie Stone was on that album. You know what I'm saying? Grand Puba was on that album. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes. It's just that during that time, I was getting ready. It was like the late 80s. It was late 80s because like in 93, I did that last song with 45 King Mark Circus. And in 91, I did that with 45 King Mark, and I went to Germany. So like in the late 80s, around about like 86, 87, you know, I came back up from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and Emcee from the Zulu Nation wanted me to do, you know, an album. So I had about 7 songs. And like I said, I did and WizKid, DJ WizKid was the actual engineer that put all the songs together. And probably like a while after that, he passed away. So I was,
Wow. Yeah.
on the verge of doing songs, of making an album, and IKC was in charge of it. Yes.
Well, I think we may need to make sure that album sees the light of day. You know?
Wow. Yeah.
What's interesting? What's interesting? We go back to the Hollywood thing. You're Shy Rock. You're the first female MC in the culture. Why weren't there other movie opportunities with the saturation of all these people coming in, trying to take from the culture? How come you weren't in the other movies? And that's my first question. And what made you walk away from rap?
I walked away because I was never going to allow anybody to pimp me like that record label pimped me. You understand what I'm saying? And I didn't receive any money. So I said,
yes. Understood.
I'd rather not make a song, and my passion for the love of hip hop wouldn't be destroyed from the inside of my heart. So I walked away because I didn't want to hate on something that I love so much because it was tainted. You understand? Mm-hmm. And so I don't live in the past. And I don't like, people like, oh, she old head, old school. She still live in the past. No, I don't live in the past. You know what I'm saying? I had a plan B. You know what I'm saying? I did the second thing that I love to do was take care of my family and get into law enforcement. You understand what I'm saying? To protect and serve. And that's what I did. You understand? And at the same time, I traveled the world. I enjoyed my life. I had the money. I didn't get it from her, but I made sure that I lived comfortably and I had everything that I needed. But I wasn't going to allow nobody to make me hate what I loved. So that's why I stepped away. That's why I stepped away.
I mean,
when you say law enforcement, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, I started out in law enforcement, as a correction officer, and in Texas, you were
down in Texas?
Yes, I retired.
Word.
Too. I retired. Yes, I did.
I'm not. Hey.
Yes,
see,
I
now,
did.
That's tough. That you would have got to be a tough woman.
I was able to go under the radar because nobody knew who I was until social media. Until they started seeing me, and then the inmates coming to be like, I saw you on TV. And I was like, oh, hell, it's time to go now. I got to get up out of here. It's time to go. It's time to go. Because we start becoming a liability.
And then it doesn't help for somebody like Rip that's always going to come around and find somebody like Shy Rock and do a Queens of Hip Hop event.
That's what you did when you brought us all together. Brad, DJ Spinderella from Salt and Pepper. Who else? Peppy Pooh was down there.
It was
you. It was in Atlanta.
That's why I don't understand why someone like Rick Ross, why he can't keep it real, and tell everybody, I was a correction officer. What's it to you? You know what I'm saying? Let my man Rick Ross.
I did a lot of different things in law enforcement.
Yeah, but Rick Ross, he was in Dade County, and he was doing the same thing down in Dade, and he doesn't want to admit it.
Really?
Wow. So let's bring it up to a little more current now with you, Shy. I mean, look, you put down the mic for years, but you put down the physical mic, but so many young female MCs came up from your style, your influence. I mean, from Shantae on up, to the females. Now I could name 100 of them, but we'll be here all night. Who you influenced even after you put down that mic all these years.
Some of them didn't know. But some of them didn't know, Rip. They didn't know. They didn't know the Shy Rock era. They didn't know about Shy Rock. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I understand that. But what I'm saying to you is that, the Shantaes of the world and the Sparky D's of the world, they know your era, right? And the lights of the world know their era. And if you keep building the building blocks, I mean, Cardi B may not know who Shy Rock is,
right?
But if you look at the building blocks, they can't pull you out. You're the foundation. So when you look at the hip hop family tree, you're the mother of the mic. So
yes, I am.
With that being,
And the
said,
mother of the culture, because I laid that foundation for the female MCs. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And more, but
Right,
the problem with that once again is that, you know, people that don't know the history, they'll say, well, Shara just was a part of just an all male group. She was the first to have a record. But you don't know because you wasn't there. And if you was there, you wasn't there. I was there. You understand what I'm saying? So they don't give the credit. They don't give the
Right.
credit.
So Shaq,
before you ask the
to us.
question, hold on. Before you ask the question, I want to add this. Okay.
Not all.
If you're a female MC today, you know you are serious about your craft. You, like any other professional, should go back and research the history of your actual if you know what you're trying to be a professional about. So if you're a female MC out there and you're serious about the culture, you should study what you're getting into, and they should know about MC Sha Rock, because they've studied the culture and they've been that serious about the culture.
Absolutely. So Sha, talk to us about your book. You put out a book in 2010 called The Luminary Icon. Tell us really quickly, give us a snapshot of the book, and where can anyone go buy it or pick it up if they want to learn about you and the foundation of the first female MC of hip hop and the culture. Sha, you there?
No, I don't think she can hear us yet. I think she might have been cut off a little bit.
Sha, I think we lost you.
Yeah, she's working on it.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, this whole conversation is interesting because you know, if for anybody that's coming out and rap, whether you be, you know, a female or a male, you should study the culture, man. You should study the people that came before you. You should learn the different styles that came before you, man. You know, all the different founding fathers or mothers of the culture. You should understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. And I think Sha's having some problems with her sound.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she can log in and log back, you know, log out, log back in.
Yeah. That's usually how you know what happens. If you log in and log back out, so you know, and it'll return back to where it's at. So, and see, and this is just one of those conversations, man, where it gets better and better as we go along. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sha, if you could log out and log back in, yeah. So man, you know, I only had a couple more questions, and you know, we can wrap it up. But
you know, do you hear the passion in this woman's voice, and how she I think she feels disrespected in a lot of ways, because you know they need to understand, you know, who she is.
Sha, you there? Can we hear you? Can you hear us? Yeah, it looks like she's still having audio issues here.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I wanted her to talk about the book, you know, that she put out. And then, you know, what some of her newer projects. I understand that she's possibly working on a film.
And then, the possible movie. So that's dope. That's dope. And when she gets back on, you know, to talk to her about that.
Yes, I don't know. I mean,
well, this is we're live. You know, anything can happen live. So you know, so this is what happens.
Sha, we can't hear you. We can see you, but we can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear us. But
I think she's talking to KD right now.
Yeah. You know, but look, you know, this is the first female MC of hip hop culture. You know,
and what is that? And man, when our audience is out there watching this, what do you mean by that? What do you mean the first MC, female MC of the culture? Because a lot of people don't know what MC means, Brett.
Well, I mean, again, for hip hop, you have the four elements. You have DJing, you have graffiti, you have b-boying, and you have the MC. You have the rap aspect. And in the first era when hip hop started, you only had a group of people that were doing it, and it's a male dominated sport, and the majority of the people that were practicing hip hop were males. There was a few females, and she obviously was one of the first b-girls, and she was the first female rapper or MC of the culture. So
well, today you have a lot of you have a lot of people in the business that think that that rap element of our culture is the culture itself. They don't think about the the MC or the b-boy or the graffiti artist. They don't think as rap. They think today that rap is hip hop, and
well,
that's not the case.
Well, I mean, rap is, just like Harris one's famous saying, is rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. You know what I mean? So, rapping is one element. It's the concept of the rhyming, rapping and rhyming. It's one element of hip hop. Okay. Yo, Sha, Sha, you there? Yeah, we still can't hear. I think she has, maybe an internet issue on her side. I don't know. We completely lost our sound here. Sha, you there? Can you hear us?
Well, I think our producer right now is communicating with her to try to get her back online. So it's almost we have to finish this interview to get her take on a lot of the artists nowadays and who she likes nowadays. You know what I'm saying? What is a legend of her caliber? Who does she like? You know what I'm saying? In today's rap, in today's rap, who does she like? Basically, what I'm saying.
Right, absolutely. Well, no matter what, she put out a book called The Luminary Icon. I believe you can get it wherever books are sold, Amazon, I believe.
Okay.
And it tells her full story, and it's a great read, and anybody who wants to know about hip hop history from a female's perspective or period, not just the female's perspective, it's a great book to pick up. It's The Luminary Icon, and it's Sha Rock's book. So,
and the one point I'm bringing here on is for her to tell her story. But for people who are who are rappers out there or MCs, as what they called it back then, they need to learn the history. Learn the history of your own element of the culture. You have, Absolutely. And I think that helps out a lot of people who recognize people that came before them.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully, we can get it back on. If not, in a nutshell, Sha Rock is a very important part of hip hop history. She helped start this culture, that we all know and love, and that has, it's the biggest, profitable genre of music and the biggest impact and influence on today's culture. And women are just as important as any male MC. I mean, we are practicing, we are celebrating, Women History Month. Today's International Women's Day. And, she literally is the mother of the mic. You know what I mean? When it comes to hip hop, when it comes to rap music, the first female MC of hip hop culture. And by the way, salute to Lisa Lee, salute to Wanda D, Dimples D, Sparky D, salute to Lady B. I'm talking first generation, you know what I mean? But
it's still interesting to hear all these artists talk about how they used to rock back then, or how they used to b-boy or b-girl back then.
Absolutely.
Before they start picking up the mic or before they started DJing. So, man, I think, you have to salute the b-boys and the b-girls out there that help jumpstart the culture. Because, again, if it wasn't for the b-boys or the b-girls, I don't think that the culture would have went as worldwide as it did. Outside of the Sugar Hill Gang song, b-boying took it to another level outside of New York City.
Absolutely, and every person, every legendary DJ or MC, they all seem to have started out from the first era as b-boys, as dancers. You know what I mean? All of them. You had DJs already, but every MC that you talk to, even every legendary DJ from the first era, they say the same thing. I was dancing first. That's why they all credit, and that's why Herc is the father of hip hop, because a lot of the legends that we all know and love that impacted and changed culture and hip hop, they were all going to Herc's Jam as a dancer. You know what I'm saying? And then they wanted to enhance what was happening in the scene, so they created their thing and made their contribution, and the rest is history. So, look,
exactly. So hey, I say, because I think she might be having the technical problems. I say we kind of wrap it up a little bit so we don't drag it out. So, her book is called what, Rick?
Her book is called The Luminary Icon. Okay. So, that's MC Sha Rock's book. You could pick it up, I believe, wherever books are sold. You know what I mean? Just search it out and, get a piece of history on Sha Rock, learn her whole full story, because she was very influential to hip hop. A lot of male MCs like DMC and Fat Joe and so many icons that we all look to now got their inspiration from her. And salute to people like Pebbly Pooh and Lisa Lee and a lot of the other legendary female MCs. They all were important and they all contributed, to hip hop. So
she has a possible movie coming out as well, correct?
Well, again, that could be a rumor. I don't want to confirm it, but
I thought she was talking about she was talking about the script.
Yeah, from my understanding, she has a script and she's working on a biopic now for her story, which would be absolutely phenomenal, and it would be again another first. So hopefully we can see that in the future, and I look forward to it. So, is she back? And do we have audio? Wow. I don't know what's going on with the connection. Sha.
She said she still can't hear us, brother.
She can't hear us, and we can't hear her. I don't know what's going on, but
well, it just has to be a connection. Again, it's live, and it has to be the connection where she's at.
Absolutely. So, you want to talk about who our next guest is? Who we got next week?
Now, next week, our favorite b-boy, and again, next level, talking to another legend, who was there on the front lines back then, Rocksteady Crew. Just to name a few, Ken Swift, man. How dope is it that we have Ken Swift on the Elements Live, talking to another legend about actual b-boying in those days and even now, being an influence now. So Ken Swift and the Rocksteady Crew is going to be on here next, man, and I'm excited to talk to him.
Absolutely. Again, another legend, from the foundation of hip hop, legendary b-boy, Rocksteady Crew. I mean, Flashdance, Wild Style, Beat Street. I mean, we can keep going. I mean,
but you got a lot of people out there asking, why are you putting so many legends on? Why do you think it's so important that we bring these legends on who help jumpstart a culture that's worth billions nowadays?
I mean, why not? I mean, you ask why not? I mean, we should talk to the new generation. We should talk to the older generation. We should talk to our elders, and we should talk to the now. I mean, like I said earlier, and I'll end it here. There was building blocks. There's Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, but if you pull the pages back, there's Sha Rock, there's Lisa Lee, there's Debbie D, there's Pebbly Pooh, there's Roxanne Shante, there's Sparky D. I could keep going. That's on the female side. So, you know, the bottom line is that we talk to the legends to get how the foundation of this culture that we love and call hip hop, or even any urban culture, or any actual, you know, element of our lifestyle, from fighting. You know, I mean, you can't tell me. I would love to talk to LeBron, but I also would love to talk to Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk to Floyd Mayweather, but I want to talk to Tyson too, because to me, the icons and the legends shaped my life, and it shaped so many of our lives that we wouldn't be in 2021 if what happened to us in the 80s or the 90s didn't happen. For any child, if you talk to a kid who's 18 right now, he's going to tell you what happened to him when he was 12. That's his past. That's what made him who he is. So we can't not talk to the legends. We got to talk to the legends, and we got to talk to the new kids. We got to talk to everybody. This is our culture. That's I don't know how else to explain it now at that. This is the Elements Live. We talk to everyone who's participated in our culture. So that's what it is.
That's what it is. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, very passionate conversation with Shy Rock, and hopefully we can continue the conversation with her later on down the line.
So Shy Rock did want us to, you know, I just got a memo. So
Okay.
Shy Rock, even though she couldn't hear us and we couldn't hear her, I just got a note that she wanted us to mention about a sneaker line called Movie. It's a female sneaker line, and I hope I'm not messing the name up. I think it's Movie. Mivy. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yes, this is live. Excuse me. She has a movie coming out. We talked about that already. Okay. She has a film. She's confirming that she has a film that she's working on. She also has a sneaker line. Excuse me. So look out for that. Shy Rock. She has a book out called The Luminary Icon. She's working on a movie, and she has a sneaker line coming out. So salute to Shy Rock.
What would be her social media so everyone can catch up with her, Rip?
Her Instagram is I am MC Shy Rock. So follow her on Instagram, I am MC Shy Rock. And I believe on Facebook it's Sharon Jackson. Sharon MC Shy Rock Jackson is her government name. Sharon Jackson is her, you know, is what she's on Facebook. But you know, you can just Google Shy Rock and everything comes up. Social media, you know, website, and all our platforms. So movie, book, sneaker line. So again, salute to the icon and the legend.
And it's
done.
Interesting, man. And we're talking about eras for this young lady, and she looks young as hell. You understand what I'm saying? We're talking about decades, and this woman looks young as hell. You know, black don't crack.
Listen.
We're talking decades. She still looks young as hell.
All I can say to you is that she's a beautiful queen, like so many of them are, and it's real, man. It is what it is.
So next week, next week, B-Boy Ken Swift will be right here on the Elements Live. Shy Rock, hopefully we can get her back on the line one of these days and finish this conversation. But next week, we got B-Boy Ken Swift here on the Elements Live.
Absolutely. And salute to Shy Rock. It's Women's History Month, International Women's Day. You know, she's a legend, first female of hip hop culture. Salute to her and thank her for coming on. I think we got, you know, as much as we could get out of her, and it was an honor. And next week, we're going to have another legendary guy. And remember, look at what we're doing. This is the Elements Live. You know, we have cool conversations every week with a little bit of everything from the culture. We may talk to an athlete. You know, we talk to a hip hop MC, a DJ, a graffiti writer. Next week, we talking to Ken Swift. He's a legendary b-boy and dancer icon, right? Ken Swift has helped curve and you know, create everything that we know what a b-boy is now. right? So, you know, and hey, we may talk to a fighter the following week, but we're going to keep doing this. This is the Elements Live, and this is the culture. My name is DJ Rip.
And I'm Houston Alexander.
And we're here every Monday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube. Salute to Shah Rock. It was a pleasure, and I can't wait to talk to Ken Swift. Thank y'all.
Live and direct.
Which I have all respect for as the founder.
That nine standing right there, like, yo, what's up? What's up? Gave me
Well, and then I started boxing with him. So I started punching.
Like, I mean, Run DMC, Public Enemy, you know, X-Plant.